Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm definitely still wearing pajamas on the bottom half of my body. So welcome back to my channel. For those of you guys who are new here, I'm Nicole. I'm 21 years old and I'm a senior at Washington State University. Today I have a little story time for you guys. I spent the last 2 nights, not last night, but the night before, but I spent 2 nights in the ER. For a couple of different reasons, and I'm going to share that with you guys today because, I don't know, I just feel like I should, and not that it would make, like, a good video, but, like, it's something that happened in my life, and I feel like maybe other people might value from knowing as well. Okay, so to start off, on Sunday night, I started getting a migraine at work. It was probably like 3:30 when it started coming on, so I went home at 4:45 when I got off work, and I started by taking 2 Tylenol, and it just like kept getting worse, and then I took a little nap, and I woke up with a migraine still, and I was kind of pissed, honestly, because usually a nap helps me, at least, and so I took a nap, woke up, and I went to go get in the shower, and I was telling my grandma that I still didn't feel good, and she's like, well, just take like 1 more Tylenol, and I go, okay, like, I'll take 1 more, and so I took another one, and I still wasn't feeling good, and so it was probably around 9:45, 10 o'clock, and I was texting my mom, and I was like, I, like, can't keep my eyes open because my Chiefs graduation, my Chiefs retirement was also that day, so I had photos on my camera that my family wanted to see, and I was just like, I can't keep my eyes open to, like, edit, like, my head hurts so bad. And so, also, side note, that video is either before or after this one, probably after, but check it out. Anywho's, but, so my mom was like, okay, like, I'll take you to the ER, and so I went, because my dad used to have migraines as well, and I had one about a year ago that I had to get a shot for, so we went into, the hospital that's 30 minutes away, Cascade Medical Center, and they gave me 2 different, medications and a shot, and then a Benadryl orally, and went home, I was fine. I woke up the next day to go to work at 7, I believe. I had to work at 7, and I was super groggy, so they did end up sending me home early because I just wasn't feeling good, and I just was not, I just looked ill. So they sent me home at 10:30 when the next person got there because they really couldn't afford or, like, really to send me home because they didn't have anybody else to work. So they sent me home. I went home and I slept, and you know, I was feeling a little bit better. I was still super, super tired, but then that night at around, I want to say 7:30, I took a melatonin. I took 2 melatonin gummies to try to go to sleep, and I don't think that this reaction was from my melatonin, but my eyes just kept rolling into the back of my head, and I had to, like, look up like this, and it was just so, I was so irritated, and I was on the phone with one of my friends, and I was so irritated. I was getting pissed off at myself because I was like, Nicole, like, stop doing this. And so I called my dad over because my dad does work on the fire department still, and he was, like, has his first responder or whatever, like, medical stuff. So he came over, he took my pulse, and my pulse was like 160, which is super high. 60 to 70 is, like, pretty normal. That's what the doctor told me. And I was at 160 originally, and he's like, okay, something's, like, not right, and he honestly thought I had a seizure at some point because I, like, kind of went unresponsive for a couple of minutes, but I remember everything, so they don't think it was a seizure. But so I get loaded up into my dad's truck, and he goes, you know what, we're gonna have you go by ambulance because I don't want you to, like, seize up when we're in, like, the part going to town that doesn't have any service. So he calls the ambulance, and I get in the ambulance, and mind you, I used to be a firefighter, so these guys that are loading me up are, you know, the guys that I used to work with, and it's definitely a little hard to be like, oh my god, like, these guys, you know, like, these guys are, like, you know, I used to work with them, so it was definitely hard to have them, like, loading me up. But one of them, well, I think it's the assistant chief, or battalion chief, there's a name, it's a fancy name. He's like, Nicole, stick your tongue out at me, because that's something I used to always do when I was still in the department, and so I, like, stuck my tongue out at him, And you could just tell that I wasn't, like, in the right, like, the okay. And so we go and we switch from the aid, what we called aid car, into the medic unit. So I switched into the medic unit, and they took me to Wenatchee, which is an hour away from where I live. And I got an IV at that point, and my pulse was still running at like 140, so still pretty high. And so we get to the ER, and in the ambulance he had told me to just like try to look down and focus on something outside. And I was doing fine, like focusing on my phone. So I was just trying to do that and like look outside and stuff, but still my neck would like just like bring up, and it like traumatizes me to even do it because it's like, it made me so uncomfortable. So we get to the ER, and they're asking me all these questions, you know, like when did it start, da-da-da-da-da, like all this stuff. And so they allow my mom to come in, which was really nice because since I'm 21, usually they probably wouldn't because of COVID right now. But she got to come in, and the doctor was like, so, like, what do you see that's not normal about your kid? And she was like, my facial expression, like, it looked like I had a stroke or something because, like, just, like, the facial expressions I was making, and I was staring up at the sky, my mom was like, that's not normal. Like, her facial expression, the way she's looking up, like, her eyes rolling in the back of her head, like, other than that, though, I was fine. I could talk, I could everything. But the melatonin was starting to kick in, and I was getting really tired. And so I ended up having to do a urine test to make sure I wasn't pregnant because I had to get a CT scan, which I wasn't pregnant. Sorry, I just think it's funny. So I wasn't pregnant, and I got a CT scan, and that was really hard because my neck was still, like, wanting to go up, and so I was in the CT scan, and I like, started shaking because I was, like, trying so hard to focus on something, and I couldn't do it. So, but they got the CT scan, and everything was fine. The only thing that they did find from my urine or my blood test, I don't remember which one, because they did take my blood right when I got in from the IV that they started. But my potassium was low. So what they did was they gave me, I don't remember what medicine they gave me to counteract the reaction, because it ended up that I was having a reaction to the meds that they gave me for my migraine. So that ended up being what happened, was that it was just a reaction to the medicine. And so they gave me a medicine, and they gave me Benadryl through my IV, and so I ended up passing out for a little bit, probably like 30-40 minutes at least. And so I woke up and I was fine. I woke up and I could just like sit there, and I was like, okay, like my head's not going up. And I was like, okay, like, am I good now? Like, is that all? And then they came in, they told me my potassium was low, and they gave me some potassium pills. So now I have to just make sure to get a lot of potassium, drink a lot of water, and all that stuff. So then I got to leave and go home, and I passed out. And then yesterday I was really, really tired, and so we had a family friend that came and got my sisters, so then they didn't have to stay at home alone while we were there, because we didn't know how long it was going to be and if I would have to stay overnight or anything like that. So they brought them home the next morning, and they told me that so I work at like a local store, and so they told me that they had called in sick for me at work because like they didn't know if I was going to be home or whatnot, and most likely wouldn't be able to go to work considering like the condition I was in. Little did they know I didn't work. But I ended up going into my work that next day, and because I bought some plants and stuff, and they were all just like, thank God you're like okay, because my parents had obviously posted on Facebook, and they're all local ladies that I work with, and you know, one of them was the boss's girlfriend, and was like, oh my God, like I was so worried for you, and like, because I definitely wasn't okay when I was at work that day. So I'm just thankful that I'm okay, and it was definitely an experience I don't want to have again, trust me. But that's my couple days in the ER. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and took interest to kind of what was happening. It was definitely a really weird situation to be in, and I don't wish to ever experience that again. That was my very first time in the ambulance as a patient. I have been in the ambulance like as a first responder, obviously. But I don't wish it on anybody because it really sucked, and I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and listening and watching, whatnot, and I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, by the way.